Hey everyone, my name is Sarthak. I'm a second year student at the National Law School of India, University, Bangalore, and I'm part of CLAT Tutor's legal team. Today, we'll be looking into a topic that is quite familiar to all of you. You're all aware of what Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Hotstar, and all of these apps that you have. They all have something in common is that they host a lot of content. Now, this content is known as OTT content, and today we'll be looking into OTT regulation. Now, within that topic, we'll be looking at four broad subtopics. First, what is OTT content? Second, what is content regulation? Third, what are the IT rules that have come out and how they regulate this content? And fourth, what are the broad challenges to the IT rules that have come up? So we'll begin with looking at what is an OTT platform. What exactly do we mean by OTT? Now, OTT by itself means over the top. This is programming. This is content that is outside of your general cable TV broadcasting. It is something that is extra, something that is streamed online, something that you can access wherever, whenever, according to your own choice. You get to decide what you want to watch and where you want to watch it and when you want to watch it. You can access it on different devices. You can access it at different locations, because of which you'll understand why it is a very popular medium for content dissemination today. A lot of media houses, a lot of film production companies, they partner with these OTT platforms. They make movies to release right there, release on OTT platforms. They make shows to release on OTT platforms for very simple reasons. Because of this access, consumers such as you and me, we prefer these OTT platforms a lot more than regular cable TV. We know that we can watch whatever it is that we want to watch, because of which it is way easier and way more flexible for us to pay for the things that we actually want without any advertisements, without any break. You can binge watch however much of a show you want. You don't have to wait for the next episode of the next season. This sort of flexibility has made OTT very popular, especially during pandemic. Over the last year, a lot of OTT platforms have seen way more subscription. A lot of new users have come onto their platforms, and it has highlighted a very simple concern. You see, when you have this sort of flexibility, when you have this sort of creative freedom, a lot of content goes on there and a lot of audience relates to this content. However, this content is not regulated. What I mean to say is that a lot of violence, gratuitous violence, a lot of strong language, a lot of suggestive scenes, they make their way into these movies, into these shows, for the simple reason that while television, TV shows, advertisements, news media, your newspapers, documentaries, trailers, films, anything, all of these are regulated. And you'll see that there are different bodies that regulate these different media of expression. However, till February this year, there was no such body for regulation of OTT content. OTT content could get away with a lot of things in the name of creative freedom. They could put a lot of questionable, objectionable stuff onto their shows, onto their movies, without anyone really going ahead and saying, "Boss, you can't really do this." However, when some of these shows that you may be familiar with sort of tipped the line, they used a lot of violence, they made a lot of political commentary, they made a lot of suggestive jokes, made a lot of suggestive language. When such things started happening, and when you saw that a number of people are coming onto these platforms, are getting influenced by it, are consuming this sort of content, there are several people who did not take it very lightly. They did not think that it is right. One of the triggers for this sort of reaction against the sort of OTT content has been that has been going up in the past couple of years has been against the Amazon Prime Video TV series called Tandav. Now, the complaint that has been raised against this show is that it depicts some religious figures in a very satirical, very uh, disrespectful light. That has been one of the complaints. And in general, a lot of these OTT content have received a lot of criticism for having strong language, for showing graphic nudity. Now, these are the sort of concerns to address which the central government has released the IT rules of 2021. The IT rules of 2021, or in its expanded form, the Information Technology, Intermediary Guidelines, and Digital Media Ethics Code rules of 2021, were notified by the central government on the 25th February 2021 under the Information Technology Act 2000. Now, the rules, by their name itself, deal with two very specific topics. First, they deal with intermediaries and how these intermediaries should act. Now, these intermediaries are also something that you're familiar with: Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp. All of these are intermediaries that host a lot of your content, host a lot of messaging, and any sort of messages that you send through them. Uh, According to the new rules, the government can access them in case the government feels that there's something illegal happening or that there's a threat to the nation. The intermediary guidelines is something that we'll deal with in a future video, but at present, we'll look at something that is particularly relevant for OTT regulation, which is the Digital Media Ethics Code. Now, the Digital Media Ethics Code has come forward to suggest that all of your OTT platforms, these are the set of rules and guidelines that you need to follow if you want to release content that is accessible to the people on your OTT platforms. Now, what these guidelines are, first thing that they do is that they bring all of these platforms under the regulatory ambit of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. What this means is that the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting decides that it can regulate digital media content. It can decide whether or not some content is right and should be on air, and whether if there's anything wrong with it, it should be removed or amended or should be age restricted. Now, two other things that the rules establish. The first is the three-tier grievance redressal mechanism, and second, it establishes an age verification system and an age certification system. Of these, the first thing, the three-tier grievance redressal mechanism, is something that you will understand very intuitively. What happens is when an OTT platform comes out with some content, and I personally feel that this content is quite objectionable, something that they have shown should not be broadcasted publicly, and it's not really right for everyone to see. I can go to the grievance redressal officer at this OTT platform and say, sir, this thing that you have done, this content that you have released on your platform, it's not really right. So it would be appreciated if you could remove it or alter it or at least age restrict it so that children are not exposed to these problematic and objectionable things. That is something I can do. That is the first level of grievance mechanism at the grievance redressal officer at the OTT level. Second is a sort of self-regulation mechanism where all of these OTT platforms come together and say, "Ki boss, we'll regulate each other. If any of us put something wrong, everyone else will say, sir, you're not doing right. You have to remove this content because it's reflecting poorly on all OTT platforms." And that is the sort of self-regulation that the tier 2 grievance redressal mechanism expects, that all of these OTT platforms will have some sort of measure against each other that they can enforce and get a lot of problematic content off air. The third level of grievance redressal mechanism is an oversight board. Now, this oversight board is something that is quite common across a number of these media. Let's say Facebook has an oversight board that has a number of people looking into whether or not some content should be on Facebook or not. There is the BCCC, which is the Broadcasting Content Council, which looks into whether or not something should be on TV. Similarly, with respect to OTT platforms, this oversight board, which is composed of members from the ministries of family and child welfare, from the Ministry of Home, from the Ministry of INB, all of these ministry officials and their representatives, they come together and see whether or not something should be on air or not, and whether or not something is fit to be broadcast. Now, the thing with this oversight board is that it has a very extraordinary power, in which case, if it notices that something is so tremendously and so immediately harmful, that if it is broadcasted, it will shock a lot of people, and it will harm and create a lot of discomfort for a lot of people, it can go ahead and remove that content preliminarily. It can go ahead and modify that content. Now, the oversight board has a lot of power, but within this three-tier structure, this grievance redressal mechanism altogether now regulates OTT content. What could previously be put on OTT contents without any fetters could now be regulated, could now be age restricted, could now be removed altogether. The thing about age restriction as well, that is also something that the rules talk about, is that now there are multiple brackets within which you can certify ages. Certify content. Let's say that something is fit for anyone who is under the age of 7. Let's say there's some cartoon or some sort of children's movie that anyone under the age of 7 can watch. For that, you get a U certificate. There's some content that is suitable for audiences between 7 to 13 years of age under adult supervision. That is certified differently under the UA7 certificate. Similarly, if you are over 13 years of age but less than 16 years of age and you can watch some content with adult supervision, that is UA13 plus. Similarly, UA16 plus, which is over 16 but not an adult but under adult supervision. And lastly, A certificate, in which case you are an adult and can watch any content unrestricted. Within these 5 age brackets, it is expected of these OTT platforms to come forward with a very reliable and a very uh, an unbeatable sort of age verification mechanism whereby children cannot access any content that is problematic, that is not fit for their age. So this age verification is also something that the IT rules ensure. However, as I've already said, the government can go ahead and cancel any content that it finds is too problematic, it's too disturbing. What this creates is a sort of chilling effect. What this chilling effect means is that these content platforms, these OTT platforms, before they put anything on there, whether or not the government will actually do this, they'll actually feel afraid. They'll get cold feet before they put something onto their platforms because they're afraid that the government will cut it and that will reflect badly upon the platform. That will hurt the producers. That will hurt the people who have sort of performed in those media. And because of this, the platforms will not like to have such content on their streaming platforms. These production houses would not want to create such content that can be struck down by the government at any time. This chilling effect means that a lot of your creativity, a lot of your creative liberty, it gets restricted because you're afraid, oh no, the government can at any point of time say that this is not right and should be struck down. This is a chilling effect that the IT rules sort of have. A lot of experts have said that this sort of chilling effect is very detrimental on the internet, especially, which is a democratic medium for expression and where people create content very freely. Other than the chilling effect, there are two other criticisms against the IT rules that have come forward. One of them, again, relating to the oversight mechanism itself. The criticism broadly goes, I am an adult. I get to decide what I want to watch. Who is the government to tell me that you are not fit to listen to this strong language and you're not fit to watch this sort of content and you're not fit to watch this sort of political commentary? The people feel like these experts feel that a lot of content that is on OTT platforms, it's different from what you can publicly broadcast. It's a lot stronger, it's a lot more evocative, and therefore it's a lot freer, it's a lot more creative. And when the government steps into this space, which has been free for all this while, it creates this sort of burden on the people that they must adhere to what the government wants them to watch. This is not something that sits right with a lot of these experts, a lot of this like commentators, and therefore they feel like the oversight mechanism by itself is something that is wrong with the IT rules. At the same time, one legal concern that has come forward with the IT rules is that of the rules being ultra virus to the IT Act. Now, in administrative law, a field of law, it is believed that if there is an act which gives the government power to frame rules under it, the rules that the government frames cannot be such that they exceed the scope of the act. If I, as the legislative body, if I, as the parliament, make a law and say, boss, you can go ahead and make any rules on the IT Act, you can't go ahead and use that power under the IT Act and make rules that are actually on, let's say, farm laws, because that is not the scope of the Act. Similarly, it is believed that the regulation of intermediaries and the regulation of digital media content platforms is not within the scope of the IT Act. And therefore, these rules are ultra virus to the Act themselves and are therefore invalid. That is one of the principal concerns that have come forward, principal legal concerns that have come forward against the rules. And this issue is currently being raised before the Supreme Court as well. A popular news media platform called The Wire has gone ahead and said that through the rules, the government is also trying to regulate online news media platforms and that it should not be able to do so because online news media platforms were not within the contemplation of the IT Act when it was enacted, and it could not be possible that the rules made under the IT Act could go ahead and then regulate these online news media platforms at all. So as you'd understand, there are three principal concerns that are very likely to develop in the near future. First being that of the chilling effect, that the rules are causing people to not make content that they want to make. Second is the issue with the oversight mechanism altogether, that the government should not be able to restrict anyone's autonomy to watch whatever it is that they want. And third, that the rules themselves are invalid, that they could not have been framed under the Act to begin with, and that they should have been framed in a different manner altogether. Now, these are emerging. And with that, we come to the end of our session here. At the end of this session, you know what an OTT platform is, what content regulation is, why is it exactly that content regulation for OTT platforms is important and has become a controversial issue in the recent past. You come to learn about the IT rules, what these IT rules say about content regulation, especially about the age certification as well as the grievance redressal mechanism. And you also learn why these specific rules are also points of contention for a lot of experts, a lot of commentators, because they believe that these rules sort of stifle free speech, that these rules are not fitting in a democratic society, and that they are ultra virus to the act itself and therefore are invalid. And I hope that this session has been fruitful for you. As always, you can mail us at hello@clattutor.com for any further queries or for any feedback that you want to give on this video. You can leave it in the comment section below. Thank you.